So managing your difficult change, painful change in your life is rather like recipes, okay? It's finding the right recipe to go with what you've got already, what it's going to do for you, and the long-term results. Okay, and often this is around the ingredients, and the ingredients in the recipe are all the different tools or coping mechanisms that you've got available to you that you can use to help you manage. Okay, and as we grow up, you know, we are developing coping mechanisms. So as a child, they might be quite simple coping mechanisms. And I'm going to refer this to, you know, my recipe books that I've gathered along the way. And so this recipe book from when me and my sister were little is obviously has really simple recipes, but I still go to this recipe book when I want to make cheese straws because I know where it is, I know it's simple, and I know they're tasty. But then as we grow up, our situations may become a little bit more complicated. We get a little bit more sophisticated about understanding our emotions and our thoughts and feelings, and we want something a little bit more in depth, perhaps. Okay, and this is when we start looking about, and there's going to be coping mechanisms that will always work for you. Okay, you know what the result is going to be. There's going to be others, like when I am making my lemon meringue pie out of this book, okay, that the recipe is there, but for some reason I never quite follow the instructions, but it always turns out good. Okay, and then there are other coping mechanisms that are always trustworthy, but are fun to use. And so this recipe takes me back to my recipe for my Christmas cake, which was given to me over the phone by my sister-in-law. You can see it's been well used, but also it makes it nicer for me to use because my daughter doodled on it a little picture of her and the hamster called Pepsi, and so it makes it more enjoyable to use. And then there are going to be recipes that you use and you adjust and you adapt. And so this mini mincemeat pudding recipe I've made several times, but then I've put a little sticker on the bottom of it reminding me how long to cook it for in the microwave rather than steaming it. And then of course we can always go onto Google, but then we can get overloaded by so many different sorts of recipes for the same thing, and we can go into overwhelm and just go, I'm not going to bother. And so this is why it's really, really important to really consider what it is that you are thinking and feeling, what it is that you want to achieve, and to find the right coping mechanism for you. And then of course there are going to be coping mechanisms that feel really complicated to you. For me, it's about bread making, and so many people have interfered in my thought process by saying, oh, bread making's really difficult, it never works, you know, it takes a lot of time. And so I've been put off from bread making. Okay, so it's important to find the right recipe for you with the right ingredients so that you can achieve.